Well, just in time for St. Patrick's Day, crowds are coming by the dozens to get an up-close view at what some say is a piece of Irish folklore.
A leprechaun is taking up residence in their neighborhood.
Could be a crackhead that got hold to the wrong stuff.
Welcome to Film Strip.
I got the one thing that can put that leprechaun on ice forever. So what you gonna do, tough guy? You gonna try to kill me, or we gonna work together and kill this mother? Cause you ain't no motherfucking gangster.
These podcasts will be spoiler-filled and contain in-depth discussions of the plots, characters, and themes.
For a fool of mine, you've done quite well. Now I'll take me flute and send you to hell.
Welcome to Film Strip. I'm Jay.
And I'm Brian.
And this is our review of Leprechaun in the Hood, starring Warwick Davis, Ice-T, Anthony Montgomery, Rashawn Nall, and Red Grant. Directed by Rob Spera, released on video in March of 2000. So, it's come to this, Brian?
We said we weren't going to do it, Jay, but last Leprechaun episode in October, we decided that since the WWE was going to grace us with a new Leprechaun, which, by the way, was supposed to be out by this year, which looking like it's not going to be, that we would go to the hood so that we can wrap it all up with the origin story that the WWE is planning to tell us. Now, who knows if that'll ever get done? From what I've read is that they don't even have a script yet for the darn thing.
Have they ever had one past the first one, I would ask?
Well, apparently someone gets credit for writing that shit, but, I keep reading, I keep looking, going, wow, what are they going to do with this? This ought to be interesting to see what the WWE does with this whole series. I mean, it can't get much worse, can it? I suppose it can.
We're going to talk about that in a few minutes, but here's the thing. There comes a point in every series, particularly horror series, where it's time to realize that your thing has jumped the shark. Okay? And it's another thing entirely when the film and the filmmakers also realize that they are jumping said shark and they don't care. Right. They're just going to go with it anyway. I thought that had happened last time. When we went to space, and it's just, nothing seemed to matter at all, okay? But I did not realize how far they were willing to rev the boat up to take another run at the fish until I turned this on and watched this.
I'll tell you this, Jay. At least in this episode, we have a little bit of continuity coming in, whereas all the other ones, it kind of was just thrown out the freaking window. We are several things of continuity in this one, which I was shocked about as I was watching. I'm like, wow, they actually remembered
You're going to call
something.
that content. You're going to call that continuity, and I'm going to call that we've jumped the shark, so we might as well reference ourselves type of humor. Because this is not... Okay, this series hasn't tried to be scary in 3 films now, okay? It tried the first time and failed miserably, but it tried at least, right?
Yeah.
This one isn't even... They're not even trying to play the fact that they know this is comedy. That's all this is now. It's bad comedy all the way down to a freaking rap song. And we're gonna get to the rap, all right? But you call it continuity. I'm curious to hear which things you're gonna call out because I think it's just them being funny, and I think there's a reason for it, and I'll cite that when we get there. But, Brian, I think for many of our listeners who may have followed the Leprechaun series, and I want to say this right now, I may hate on these films, but these have been some of the more funny podcasts I've ever been a part of. And I don't consider myself a funny person per se, but I have a lot of fun when we talk about these things. We seem to get a lot of good jokes out of it. So I'm hoping this one is the same. I hope our listeners enjoy it just the same as well, because we try to have fun with this stuff. But I have a feeling a lot of people haven't seen this and may not want to try to see it.
I don't know. I think that because of Ice-T being in it, this may be the one that more people have seen.
Maybe they have. Maybe that would let us know on Twitter or Facebook, folks, if you've seen this one more than you've seen our other Leprechaun episodes. We'd like to know. That'd be curious to know. But I think a lot of people aren't going to be as familiar with it as maybe they should, or maybe it's been a while. I don't know. So why don't you give us a plot summary?
I'd be happy to. Postmaster P, Stray Bullet, and Bush are rappers trying to raise money for their first record, be it a clean record, ladies and gentlemen, in the hood.
Hey, they break Will Smith into don't have to cuss in his raps to sell records, but I do.
No.
Him and this movie too.
Yeah, we'll get into this here. No, hold on. They're the clean gangster rap. But anyway, they break into the studio of a powerful producer, Mac Daddy Onassis, hoping to steal something valuable. Instead, they discover the secret behind Mac Daddy's multi-platinum success, a magic flute he stole from the Leprechaun 20 years earlier. The rappers take the flute with them, and their careers take a dramatic upswing. But Mac Daddy wants the flute back, and so does the evil Leprechaun, our hero. After a lot of chasing around, Postmaster P, Mac Daddy, and the Leprechaun get into a big fight where Mac Daddy shoots Butch, Postmaster P shoots Mac Daddy, and Mac Daddy shoots the Leprechaun. That's a lot of shooting going on. The Leprechaun uses his magic to blow up Mac Daddy's torso, but not before Mac Daddy tosses the amulet in the air, presumably trapping the Leprechaun once again. Ding! Continuity. We flash forward to see Postmaster P rapping about how he finally made it when he takes off his sunglasses and his eyes glow a neon green, indicating that he is under the Leprechaun's spell. The camera pans to the front row in which the Leprechaun sits wearing the same sunglasses, and in a final scene, the Leprechaun takes the mic and drops some rhymes about his evil self. Oh boy. That is our plot summary to this brilliant movie known as Lep in the Hood.
What in the hell? And I'm saying that in the fifth Leprechaun movie. I think I've said that for several of them, but really this time. Okay.
Now, let me tell you a little story here first. The gods did not want me to watch this movie. They tried so hard for me to not be able to watch this movie. I paid a whole $1.99 to rent this thing on Amazon Prime Instant Video, and every time I tried to start it, it would not go. It would tell me it cannot retrieve my movie and to try calling customer service every time. So what did I do? I hopped on my little Google Nexus tablet and brought it up there, and it started playing, but that's really kind of tiny to watch a movie on when you're trying to watch it with the wife. So we stopped that, and she found out there's an Amazon Instant Video app on iPhone. So she downloaded it for her iPad, and we sat and watched this thing by the brilliant sound of an iPad 2, which is not very easy to do. But that's how we had to watch it, because the TV, the Roku, would not let us connect to that movie.
There's a reason you should have listened. Okay, first off, am I not wrong? Your wife has watched all of these with you, right?
She's watched all of them but the second one, which is probably good.
I'm just going to say props to Brian's wife, because mine bailed out on me after part of the first.
Oh,
she was like, no, I'm not doing it.
The first one's cinema gold when you look at this series.
Dude, that is genius filmmaking compared to where we are now. We have gone down a very sad place to get where we are at this point. But nonetheless, well, I watched this when it was still streaming on Netflix, and it no longer is. But I remember watching it when it was, and I think it's when I messaged you and said, "Hey, we should just go ahead and do this since it's already on Netflix. Whatever, we can get this done." And only 90 minutes later did I realize how bad of a decision that was.
Regret filled your heart.
I want to say this right now, okay? I have known Ice-T since he started his days as a rapper. My brother, when he was going through high school, was on the forefront of the gangster rap thing as it hit. And my brother liked Ice-T. He listened to Ice-T and Too Short and Public Enemy and NWA and all those guys. And so I got to riding around in his cool car, listen to a lot of Ice-T. Probably shouldn't have been because I was a little young at that point, but I have known of Ice-T for a long time. I'm also a big fan of Law & Order SVU. Of course, he's been on that show for many, many years. And I find it humorous that the guy who's infamous for the song Cop Killers played a cop for a long time. But I've known about Ice-T for a long time. So I was intrigued. I think you mentioned at the outset that more people may have seen this because Ice-T's in it. I was intrigued as to what is Ice-T doing in a Leprechaun movie. Clearly he's going to get the joke, but what's that joke going to be? Is it going to be one worth seeing? I will tell you that the reveal of this film and its central plot is that this guy and another cat in the 70s, I think this is supposed to be, break into some kind of cave.
Ice-T representing that fro and those bell bottoms, baby.
I'm telling you, he pulls a baseball bat out of the fro.
Oh, God, that was the best.
They break into this cave or whatever. They're stealing stuff off the Leprechaun, and the thing they steal is the flute
subway that they're breaking into.
Is that it? So. I didn't know what it was, but it could have been the damn treehouse for part 2 and 3 for all I knew. But all I knew was that they were breaking in, stealing this stuff, and they steal the magic flute that when played, 3 things happen. No one can hear it at first. Second, everyone goes into trance, and it's the only thing to explain why white people would ever like rap music. That is the plot of this film, is that this guy gets away with that, and he uses it to build a music and pimpin' empire.
The other thing with this film is it's a plot to use the word over and over and over again. And since you can't hear that because I beeped it out, it's the F word over and over and over again. What the hell?
I mean,
it's half the dialogue. I'd say 75% of the dialogue is that one word.
Well, it's 2 things, Brian. It's the stereotypical we're going to have urban youths and we're going to do this gangster picture. So this is how the urban rappers talk. And it's also, this is direct to video. So who cares what it's rated?
Yeah, well, that's true.
No, it's not even rated. I mean, nobody cares. So, they're able to get away with all of that language that way because it is part of the music there. And no dang, I like gangster rap. I like some of it. I've certainly never been a gangster nor will ever be one, but I've known a few in my day. But I get it, and that's part of that music. It's just in there, and I think that it's also I would say Anthony Montgomery and Ice-T take a lot of liberties with whatever dialogue was written to them. No. This doesn't sound like something that could have been written by one person or 5 people or how many ever people are supposed to have written this. It sounds like they gave them stuff to work around, and then these guys just sort of riffed on it. Ice-T's notorious for that. Anyway.
That's true. I don't know, man. To go from a guy who wants to be a clean gangster rapper to just saying MF over and over again throughout this show is just like, what the hell? But
it's weird. Isn't that the joke though? Is that this guy's trying to do positivity and all this stuff, but really that's not what he's into. He's just looking for an angle. He's just a hustler.
Yeah, he's trying to get his way in. Absolutely.
Yeah, and this is his hustle to get in. And it's not really who he is. I make a joke. I made a joke.
I think it is who that one is, but the other 2, they don't give a crap.
No. I'm talking about Postmaster P. I think he's just looking for a way in too. His friends, Butch and Stray Bullet. Come on.
I think that he actually wants to lead the positive life, but as events unfold, that's impossible when you shoot people and kill them.
He doesn't make choices that would lead me to believe he wants to be a bastion. Well,
he makes. I don't think he makes choices after all this starts going down. But I think before they decide to go break into Mac Daddy's house and steal his shit, that he actually was leading a positive life instead.
Yes, but he crosses that line. Yes. And unlike films like Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood, where there's the big change for the main character, you see this one coming 100 miles away. It's not even
honest to God, Jay,
interesting.
Who thinks, this guy didn't want anything to do with us because our positivity sucks? let's break into his house and steal his stuff.
Yeah,
this guy
that is never the answer.
He's the most powerful person in the gangster rap of the time. You think it's that easy to just bust in and take?
Yeah, it's like
on.
This is not. If this is Suge Knight's house, you ain't gonna do this and live.
You're gonna die.
I mean, this is dumb. I was like, this guy didn't get to this point by being an idiot, So I don't get it either. I think that is the ridiculous part.
The other big thing. Okay, I understand keeping the flute, and we figure out that's how Mac Daddy became so powerful. But why the hell does he keep the leprechaun? Why did he keep the leprechaun statue?
You know what? Okay, you were talking about callbacks.
This is a callback.
All I could think of was the pawn shop to begin part 3, and I thought this has to end with this leprechaun statue in the one-armed pirate's hands heading to Vegas, or I'm going to be real disappointed.
That would have made much more sense than the ending we got, dude. Maybe that happens in Leprechaun Back to the Hood. We still got to go back to the hood, bro.
Yeah, we still got another one of these to go. I know, and then the Hornswoggle one, but you get to that in a minute. Wait a minute though. This though, if you read like on the Leprechaun message boards, yes, there are some.
There's Leprechaun message
Leprechaun fan sites that this is supposed to take place continuity wise before the Tory story of part 1.
Yes.
This is the prequel.
Yes.
So
think about it.
Star Wars was doing it, Leprechaun must also.
Well, they've been bouncing all over the place on the timelines if you actually go try and look up one of these things. But this is supposed to take place, it starts in the 70s, probably 1970. 20 years later, you're into 1990, which is about the right time for the gangster rap thing to get real big, right? And then the North Dakota one, which is Leprechaun 1, that one takes place, I believe, in 1992 or 93. So a couple years later. I have no clue when the Vegas one takes place or any of that, but obviously after this. So, but there's continuity with the medallion thing and the statue leprechaun. So that was kind of, cool that they harkened back to that. Then, the other continuity piece comes at the end, which we'll get to when we get there, but I'll point that out as well.
I agree. I think that this thing's all over.
Oh, absolutely.
But that's what they're trying to sell us on this idea. And I'm not buying it. I mean, it seems, okay, the whole trope here, the conceit we have to give is that, one, there's a magic flute that makes people in a trance for whatever, and that's the only way rap music's become popular.
Well,
that Baghdadi Onassis has kept that.
That's not the only way that's not the only way rap music became popular. That's the only way that Mac Daddy became who he is, and that's the only way that Postmaster P can become popular.
Let's say this is that these two rappers are so awful they have to have evil magic to make it work. Which I can buy some of that when you hear, well, not Ice-T, but when you hear this guy start dropping rhymes, it's pretty awful.
Yes.
And then, I mean, I've seen CB4,
and if Ice-T wrote that crap.
No. There's no way Ice-T wrote that crap. I know Ice-T's rhymes. Ice-T did not write any of that shit. Okay, only thing Ice-T wrote was how many zeros he wanted him to check at the end of this. All right, I don't know what the budget for this film is. 90% of it had to go to him.
Yeah,
but to get him for like the 12 minutes that he's in the thing. But there's that end of it, and then you have these three guys who. Their whole bit is that they're trying to they're trying to sell some, faulty stuff to a pawn shop. and then they sell all the gold to the pawn shop for some really shoddy recording equipment. Now, Brian, you and I have dabbled in music in our lives and done some recording and stuff. I'm going to tell you, my friend, you can't record a whole lot with the stuff they were buying. That was bad.
It was terrible. And that's a lot of gold to give for just that crappy audio equipment that they got. And yeah, they were trying to pawn off a Fender Squier guitar signed by apparently Jimi Hendrix, which I thought was hilarious.
Yes.
Anyway, course, I gotta tell you, I did enjoy the Chow character. I thought he was pretty funny.
I thought nothing of him.
You tricycle Chow?
All I thought of was of the offensive Asian stereotype that's on South
Absolutely.
Park that runs the city walk. That guy. And so I was having Team America flashbacks into how Kim Jong Il was portrayed into that when I was watching Chow, because it definitely felt that way. So I think the problem here is, well, it's the problem with all of these movies, right? None of the human characters are remotely interesting to watch. And Warwick Davis, what is his whole role in this? Okay, he smokes some weed with Ice-T, right? A friend with weed is a friend indeed. So we get those awful rhymes again. Then he bites his finger off. Why? Is it just revenge for the flute? How does he remember that? And then he cracks a Tiger Woods joke. He's been in stone for 20-something years. How does he even know who the hell Tiger Woods is?
Fantastic question. So now that helps us date this as well, because Tiger Woods is apparently a big deal. And I'm pretty sure, let me think here, 1990? Probably not. Tiger Woods wasn't doing anything then. I think he came around 98, 99, maybe.
That's what I'm saying. This movie's supposed to be 1990, but it's most definitely 2000 jokes.
Yeah.
I mean, and you know what they're hoping is that nobody pays attention, but yay-lo, here we come to dissect it. And here we are.
Shame on us. Let's talk. Okay. So you got all this crap going on. Postmaster P goes from a positivity guy to shooting Mac Daddy and thinking he's dead, to just all of a sudden going on a multi-binge crime spree for him. Like, he's just doing whatever now. He doesn't care. He's shoot whatever, whoever, to dressing up as a drag queen. And I gotta tell you,
we had to call back to part 4, didn't we?
But I gotta tell you, Jay, that dude is pretty muscular. If a chick ever came up to my lair for some action and walked in with that much muscle, I'd run the out of there, because that scared the shit
out of Dodge. Look, the last time I saw muscles like that on a woman, it was called China, and we all know how that ends. That was bad.
Well, yeah.
Okay, there is no way on earth. Okay, it was bad enough when the freaked out sergeant with a plate in his head, who was actually a robot, at the end of part 4 was dressed up as a woman for half of that movie. Okay, there's the whole plot to part 4, folks. Don't even watch it. And after that happened, but we had to go back to that again. Right? Yeah. But not only
that was their only way to get up there.
But at some point, the leprechaun tries to get a beach from Postmaster P.
Yes. I thought the exact same thing. I don't know if that's what they were intending, but that's what it looked like. He was pushing his head down towards his crotch.
That is exactly what was happening.
And I'm like, oh my God, he's going to go through with this.
Yes. He is most assuredly attempting to get okay, that's not even the worst part of this whole thing, Jay. The worst part of this whole thing is the fact not only that they're dressing up like women, but the other guy, what's the other guy's name? Butch or Stray Bullet?
Whoever the background guy is, I think it's probably Butch.
That's Butch, because Stray Bullet gets killed early on.
Yeah, Butch is dressing up as a woman, and he has a mustache and a beard. Who the hell is that going to fool? Seriously.
Apparently a lot of stupid people who are under the leprechaun
and anyway, the beach part.
What do you make, though, of the fact that the way that the leprechaun gets sort of duped out of this whole bit is they get him to smoke some weed laced with not PCP, not cocaine, a freaking 4-leaf clover.
Ding! Continuity. Back to number 1, baby. We know.
You're calling this continuity. Hey. This is not continuity. This is just, let's pull up random.
That's continuity.
Shit
How did they?
Other people may have. If other people have bothered to see these movies, they might remember. Yeah. That's not continuity. That's called a callback. You know what that is?
They called back a very key part of Leprechaun 1 in the fact that you have to disable his powers by getting him to eat a 4-leaf clover. And they shot it in him there. They gave it to him in weed here. It did what they said it would do.
I'm just going to say, I disagree, and here's why. Because this is coming out in the wake of what big horror series? Scream. And what was Scream? It was the self-referential horror series. That's all this is. That's what it plays like, is that somebody trying to do a real low rent version of Scream.
I would have never gotten that out of that, but I can see a little bit. But now I think that they were actually making an attempt to use some of the rules that they've set up kind of in past episodes.
Rules.
Well, yeah, I mean, Force Lightning was back. Force Lightning was back in this episode.
Yes, the green Force Lightning was back in the episode.
So we got that. So, we got the drag queen going on. We got the 4-leaf clover to disable the powers of the leprechaun coming back. And we got the statue leprechaun with the medallion around him coming back. That's 4 things that they brought back from other past leprechauns.
Well, what about the leprechaun's magic in this one, where he can like control people?
Well,
like it's, we talk about Force Lightning, but now it's like the Force.
Yeah, that was a little weird. The whole green eye thing was a bit odd, but I like the fact that they were able to, another callback, he can project images towards people.
Right, we know that.
And it was nice to see that they brought that back. I mean, not that it was good the first time, but at least they brought it back. And he used that a couple times. One to take out the pawn shop owner, which I don't know what the point of that was, other than the fact that he at one point had some of his gold. So I guess he must die.
Well, this is not about getting the gold. Okay, the pot of gold, nah, we ain't even there. We're just trying to get the dang flute back now. So it's we were way past the pot of gold.
We've gotten way off track on this movie because we're talking about things that don't even, well, not that this movie matters, but that don't even matter. The flute. What the hell? So he gets this flute, he puts it in his mouth and just blows into it, and this magical song comes out. He doesn't even make it an attempt to make it look like he's trying to play this flute until one point where he actually moves his fingers a couple times, which I thought, wow, look at that. He's actually trying. But then everybody is mesmerized by this, and basically it brainwashes them into thinking something magical is going to happen. What did you think about the whole idea of this flute as being this magical item that gives them power to do whatever they want?
I saw that once. It was called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Ah, yes.
And Willy Wonka blew the flute, and then here came the Oompa Loompas, right? And then I've also seen that trope. I mean, how many times have you seen the magic flute? I mean, it's the Pied Piper? It's all of that,
okay.
Right? And I think that's what the riff is on, is the Pied Piper here. The idea that he can play something that would enchant people to just go in a trance and go his way.
And I can get the whole trance thing, but it's got to wear off at some point, and they got to realize it was crap that they were dealt. Don't you think?
See, here's the problem. Is that, it's like it has a lasting effect. But what breaks the trance? There's no rules on the trance. I guess it's how long the song is. I don't know.
Well, but you think about
I was curious about that.
Think about it. You get them to think that everything's good, right? You've laid down a recording of probably this Mac Daddy. He's a producer or something, right? So he lays down his tracks to become the man he was. If it sucked at the beginning, it's got to suck still. And that trance has to wear off eventually because people have to buy the to make you famous.
Well, okay, here's the thing. I never got the sense that Mac Daddy wasn't any good. I got the sense that Mac Daddy was a good rapper. It was that he signed a bunch of punks like Postmaster P and people like that and turned them into stars when they really shouldn't be. And then once they wore out, he just had new ones going.
That could be.
That's how I read it, was that he just kind of, gristmilled them out.
But even still,
once
the way to make the money is to put out the records. And if the records suck and you have to use a flute to make people think they're good, when does that die?
Well, see, you get the one-hit wonder, and then you throw them to the side, and you get the next one-hit wonder, and then you throw them to the side, and you get the next one-hit wonder. You can make the dough doing that.
Do you really think that Postmaster P could ever produce a hit? Because the way he was rapping, I can't see that ever happening.
No, but I have to give this movie that gimme because that's what it's telling me happened.
That's pathetic.
I can't believe any of this, even on a horror level. On the cheesy horror movie, gimme level, I can't buy any of this shit. But I'm having to go with something because I'm here for 90 damn minutes, and I'm gonna watch it. So I want to know why things are the way they are. I mean, that's kind of the point. So yeah, I don't know, Brian. That's a good question. I do not know what the answer is on that. I don't have it.
Yeah, and it just comes to a point where they're playing their crappy music, and they're in the other drag queen's apartment, And out comes the neighbor telling him to shut up because it sucked so bad. And then all of a sudden they blow the flute and everyone's partying at the house. Really? I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like all of a sudden, well, you know what, though? I wonder if this flute hasn't escaped and made itself back into the world, because Gangnam Style and Harlem Shake have both been massive hits before we recorded this. And I can only imagine that that's how those things occur.
No.
And that Kesha still has
I'm
a
sad
career.
now.
It certainly can make one.
Yeah,
such.
let's stop hobnobbing around this pile of junk. Let's get right to the ending, Jay. Like we mentioned in the plot summary, they get into the final three standing. Everyone's been killed, basically. The final three standing are the Leprechaun, Mac Daddy somehow, and Postmaster P. And what happens is Postmaster P goes and shoots the crap out of Mac Daddy again, thinking he's killing him, but then Leprechaun arrives, and now he's in trouble. And of course he pulls out the old, "What are you going to do about Mac Daddy?" And Leprechaun says, "I ain't falling for that crap again." And of course there's Mac Daddy, who goes and clocks him over the head with a chair. And then Leprechaun gets pissed and blows his gut out, apparently. And so now Mac Daddy is finally toast. I mean, he's been shot 3 times, I think, in this movie, and now he has his gut blown out, and that's the only way he dies. So he's got some mystical powers, too, because my God. So now it's down to Postmaster P. But as Leprechaun is getting ready to go after Postmaster P, what happens? The amulet goes flying in the air, and you're led to believe that it has fallen on top of the Leprechaun, and he is now turned back to stone, and Postmaster P is now the proud owner of this magic flute to make him famous. And of course, we're in a bar, and he's rapping, and people are jamming and jiving, and he gets done, and what happens? The reveal that he is now a zombie of the Leprechaun as well. What the hell?
Okay, so it's a callback to the opening, too, because that's how the fight in the subway cave, whatever, goes down. The amulet winds up in the air and it lands on the Leprechaun, and that's how Mac Daddy and his hood are able to escape initially. So it's a callback to that. So, okay, they're trying to do that. But here's the thing. The only thing I can surmise that happens is that Postmaster P catches the amulet and says, "I'm going to throw this on you unless you make me famous." And the Leprechaun says, "What? Deal."
It's not.
So now he's an evil genie.
I don't see that being the case, because the Leprechaun. Why would the Leprechaun even say?
No. The idea of like,
how are you going to throw that on?
Think about it like this. Is that okay? I'll take that. The Leprechaun would say, "Sure, I'll take that deal," because he knows my magic's going to overturn you, boy, anyway. So it keeps him alive, and then he just puts him under a spell like all the zombie fly girls.
And what's the motivation for the Leprechaun? I mean, he owns 100 pieces of gold. That's the only thing he cares about in his life, and apparently a flute.
Maybe he wants 102. Well, but I don't know.
Is he addicted to the marijuana? That he needs money to get that? Is he addicted to the beads from drag queens? I just don't get what the motivation for the Leprechaun to make him a zombie to go out and rap and become a star for him is.
I don't either. It's so weird because I can only wonder, is this taken care of in Back to the Hood?
I'm going to go out there on a limb and say that Back to the Hood has absolutely no freaking thing to do with this one. That's just a guess. I have not seen it yet. I don't look forward to seeing it, but we will be seeing it. But I'm going to take a guess, because I don't think any of the same actors are in the next one.
I don't think they are either. But here's the thing: is that this is the end of the movie or whatever, but it's not the real end, because the movie ends with the Leprechaun rapping. Let's just talk about that rap. Just deal with that for a minute, please.
I watched it too. I don't know why. I knew it was the end. I knew it was the end. I don't know why I stayed and watched the whole rap. So bad.
It is beyond bad, dude. It is horrible. Horrible.
Yes.
I can't even recite it. We'll cut some of it in here, folks, to save you the pain of having to sit through it.
We'll end the
yourself,
episode with that. How's that? We'll end the episode with the rap.
So, yeah, there we go. Yeah, it is. It is beyond belief how stupid this movie is. And we have reviewed some really stupid stuff as a part of this podcast. Not just me and you, the whole crew here. We have gone down the stupid road more than once. All right? This is not an unusual thing for us to do this. But this, by far, is the most disjointed piece of crap I've ever tried to review and talk about in any straight manner at all. There is so many ideas on the screen here, Brian, and they seem to have no idea. This looks so thrown together.
Well, Jay, you're getting into it, so why don't we go ahead and give our final popcorn rating for this Leprechaun in the Hood, Leprechaun 5, we'll call it. I think we know what you're going with.
Small, burnt, awful, horrid, worst one of the series. I'm even going to say that. I think this is worse than part 2. I would rather see fake zombie lawnmower girl than the projection girl than any of this crap. I would rather go on the golf cart ride with Morty again, whatever, than any of this. This is horrible.
The hearse ride.
So bad. It's bad. Yeah, the hearse ride, whatever. It's so bad. This is terrible. No, small popcorn. Under no circumstances should this be viewed.
Well, Jay, I'm not sharing your sentiment as far as the worst one in the film. 2 by far takes the cake on that, because let me tell you why. There is no point in 2 that I actually laughed or enjoyed. Other than maybe the woman coming out of the house yelling at them to get away from her house and stop coming on the dead tours. That's about the only thing in that one that was even remotely entertaining or funny. Everything else was just like, why is this happening? Why am I watching this? There was no value. This one, beside from all the MFers and F this and F that and all that, I actually was kind of entertained by in a little bit here. So to me, 2 takes the cake as the worst one so far in this series. This one is about a kernel of popcorn taken out of the trash that still might taste good better. But that's about it. It's so not worth your time. And I'm glad that you will let us review it for you so you don't have to feel the pain.
Indeed. Well, it's a St. Patrick's Day tradition here that we put one of these out. So I'm glad to do it. Again, it was fun to talk about it, even though it is one of the worst things I've ever seen. But folks, it is actually not the worst movie I've ever seen. If you want to know what that is, hook up with me on Facebook or Twitter. I'll be glad to have a discussion with you about that, because that movie is so bad I cannot convince anyone here to review it with me. So
you can't
I doubt
find
we'll ever
it,
get
can
around to talking about. No. So that's the other problem. I'm one of the only people on earth that I know that actually has a copy.
Which is fascinating, so because they burned all the reels. It was so bad they burned it.
Well, they had DVDs made before that happened. So, but that's another story for another day. So, but we do have some cool stuff coming up here, Brian. I mean, Anna and I are going to come back with a couple of rom-coms here. We've got some fun ones coming up that have been out in the last few years, and then you and I are going to be looking up in the sky and talking about Superman as we get ready for the Man of Steel coming out this summer. So going to be a lot of fun there.
And we're finally going to put a cap on the Batman series.
Yes, we are finally getting around to Dark Knight Rises. Promised so long ago, we are finally sitting down to do that. So I'm looking forward to all that stuff. Of course, we will be getting back to Stephen King later on, and lots of other fun stuff coming up. Folks, just hang in there with us. You can always find...
And don't forget, Jay, we are going back to the Hood probably in October, maybe September.
Maybe September, maybe October. We'll have to see. We've got some fun stuff planned for the Shocktober, if you will. So we'll get to that when we get there. But I will say this now, folks, we really do appreciate your support, and let us know what you think of the podcast. Give us a review on iTunes. Hit us up on Twitter or Facebook. Talk to us about the things you saw in the episode or things that you didn't see. What you want to talk about in it. And Also find links to our other podcast, The Art of Slaying, our Buffy the Vampire Slayer retrospective. Brian and I are in the midst of season 5, episode by episode. We've gone through the Buffy show, so lots of stuff there with that. And our latest addition to our podcast universe, The Fabish Factor, our general podcast discussion where Kurt Fabish and Nick and several others talk about general topics, usually like, the best films they saw of the year or one thing or another. They're going to be getting into some Game of Thrones coming up. Lots of cool stuff coming up there, and lots of ways for you to find us on the web. Again, it all starts at continuousplaypodcast.com. Until next time, for Brian, I'm Jay. Put down that magic flute and run the other way. Thanks for tuning in to Film Strip.
Thanks for listening to Film Strip.
A friend with weed is a friend indeed.
Visit our website, continuousplaypodcast.com, for more reviews and episodes.
I'm gonna run a backhoe and uproot that tree. I want to know where to go. I want to go.
We're supposed to trust you now?
I would advise you to trust me. I know that would be the worst thing you could do in your life. But right now, we got no options.
All content used or discussed in this podcast is the property of the respective owners and used under the Fair Use Act, Section 504, C2, Title 17.
From the land of the Irish Spring, Dublin's the place where I learned my thing. From the Emerald Isle to your place in the hood, I'm the man of green, come to do no good. Left in the hood, come to do no good. Left in the hood, come to do no good. Blunt is dope, this place is hype. There's a lassie, she's just my type. I hate your result so soon to marry. Haven't been late so long, it's happening. I'm so bad, I'm good. I'll show you what to do, so lend an ear. Don't worry, little lassie, you've got nothing to fear. Sit with the lad who's lean and green, and let me show you why I'm a love machine. Come to do no good. I'm a wee green guy who's new to town. Show me what you do when you get down. I'll go up, you go down. We'll cause a scene, you'll love the green. Left in the hood, come to do no good. Left in the hood, when we're bad, we're good. From the cliffs of Moor to your front door, better turn out the lights and pray some more. We're gonna party through the night until the dawn. Then you and I are gonna get it on. Left in the hood, come to do no good. Left in the hood, come to do no good.
Left in the hood, come to do no good. Left in the hood,
come to do no good.